All right, man, talk the talk. You know what it is, man. We back, baby. What's good? What's good, everybody? How y'all doing? I hope everybody's good, man. Hope everybody's nice. You know what I'm saying? Hope everybody is doing well. I am in great spirits today. I'm very happy, always living a good life. You know what I'm saying? Even when I'm in pain, sometimes you gotta smile all the way through it, you know? And yeah, man. So today's episode, we're gonna talk about Drake did something very disrespectful. And yeah, we're gonna get into that. Before I get into that, you know I gotta get a legendary spill. This is Torture Talk. If you like the content, please consider subscribing. If you're new here, let me work for your subscription today. All the beautiful, single, sexy ladies, put one in the chat. All the fellas, y'all know where to find the ones that just don't harass them. I don't sell no merch, but I do have content. Absolutely free. But if you want to leave a donation, link is in the description. Cash App. No more PayPal. They call me the hidden gem. I went from 1,300 subscribers over 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, almost 17,000. And yes, I am the king of the north. Let me know what kingdom you from. So look, man, we going to get into this, man. And look, I always try to remember a question that the last episode I forgot. I ain't gonna lie. But I try to come up with a question at the end of this episode. If I don't remember, then don't shoot me, please. All right, so look, man, let's get to it, man. Let's do it. All right, man. Here we go. Fantastic hip hop. Shout out to them, man. Let's go.
Now, when it comes to Drake, right within this forced comeback effort that he is trying to make that nobody wants to see with Nokia and so many other antics, Drake just made a move so reckless that he really messed up bad this time, and he didn't just disrespect hip-hop or other rappers, but he straight up disrespected the guy who he once said he idolized in Michael Jackson. And with what Drake just did, there has never been more glaring proof that he is so far gone, because he really just messed with the wrong people. And now, before we go any further into this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton. And as Drake has now disrespected really the guy who he has said he wants to be like more than anybody else, really be sure to leave that like so all of music knows how far gone he is and how bad of a choice he just made. And so now, with all that said, when it comes to Drake, if you have been looking around at what's been going on within hip-hop and music recently, you would have seen that ever since Drake has dropped his Nokia video, there has been a clear and obvious play from his team that has been trying to trick everybody into believing that he is making some sort of a comeback. And now, while Drake has been faking records and making up narratives to try and make himself look better while also taking down Kendrick Lamar in the process, none of that even matters to him, as there has been one thing he has needed more than anything else to try and trick everybody about.
I mean, the more and more I'm telling y'all, I started going back recently and I just started watching Drake videos. The more and more I watch Drake videos, the more and more I realize how terrible his videos are. Drake videos are terrible. I mean, terrible. Some of his videos are so bad that it's like, how did this even get approved? Some of the stuff is so bad. The CGI is bad. It's just terrible. His takes are terrible. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. I don't know. And I think he tries to be a funny guy. And some of the stuff is just really not that funny. He tries to be a funny guy. It's like, come on, bro. Cut it out.
Where his career is at, and that was going to be to get Nokia to go #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. Also, that after his quote-unquote new record came out of him taking something from the Beatles, he then would take something from the guy who was even bigger than them, which would have been to pass Michael Jackson with the most #1 songs ever. And what Drake believed is that between all of his lies and the impression that he just passed MJ and the Beatles, that this was going to win him back everything he ever needed and put him beyond hip-hop. But now, despite this, and despite how Drake has just used MJ's legacy and disrespected it in the worst way, Drake trying to use these legends to deceive everybody into believing he made a comeback has not worked, and ultimately, everything Drake has tried to pull off in this time has only shown that even beyond hip-hop, the guy has no regard for anybody who's ever paved the way in music. And with how bad Drake messed up, and at the same time how he wants to try and get a win, he, OVO, and all of the guys they have used for so long to keep people believing he was one of the top people in the music industry have really been trying to do everything.
That's what I'm saying. Like, some of these videos be so trash. Like, I don't know what these people be thinking when they make these videos. Like, bro, these Jones be horrible. They be horrible. But as far as him breaking the Beatles record, I mean, I'll put it to you like this. I think that that's a great thing, but we have to ask ourselves: is he doing this? Is he out here saying that hip hop broke the record, or is he out here saying he broke the record? Which one is it? Because we still have. I don't classify Drake as a rap artist. I think I classify him as a pop star, and I think a lot of people they want to pretend like he's a rap star, but I don't think so. I don't think so because most of his music is pop, or most of his successful music is pop, and he just uses rappers like he uses the rappers. So let's keep going.
Possibly can, to just convince everyone in their entirety that this idea of a Drake comeback is real and that he's about to even reach heights that nobody has ever seen. And with that, we have been sitting through an effort on Drake's end, which has been trying to create one entire elaborate lie. And now, while a lot of what Drake is trying to do right now is make Kendrick Lamar look like an absolute liar, with fellow OVO members like Baca trying to even the playing field in rap and saying Kendrick Lamar is this awful person who lies and just does whatever he wants, which of course all of hip-hop is seeing through no matter how annoying it is. The much bigger play at hand here revolved around pushing the musical success of Drake to the forefront and trying to dangle accomplishments in people's faces to make them believe that his career has not been ruined in a way that he has still not come back from. And for Drake and his team, they perfectly aligned together 3 moments which they believe would be enough to get him back on top and surpass Kendrick Lamar. And now what these were was first off this story of Drake passing a new total units moved in his career, which they purposefully updated these numbers now, again to just try and push this comeback more than they ever have.
Says Drake becomes the first artist in history to surpass 500 million RIAA, what do you say, certified units across albums, singles, and features. So what?
What the fuck is this nigga talking about?
Who cares? So what? So? That doesn't make the music good. So what? So what?
Because that's how it works with these certifications, and with somebody like Kendrick, for example, he does not care about these and has not updated them in so long that Mr. Morale has not even been counted for or anything beyond that, so we don't even know those real numbers, and they have not been updated for Kendrick at all, so you can't even compare them. But of course for Drake, he's doing all of this to give everybody the biggest narratives and bait to talk about him with, and ultimately try to really make him look like he's doing amazing. And all this didn't stop here, as the next thing Drake was trying to do is push his name forward in conversations with all-time legends. So again, he can try and build this respect factor up and just change the narrative about what's going on. And so what he did here was have another milestone conveniently come out about how he has passed the Beatles on the Billboard 200 chart in terms of how long his albums have been charting there, which once again.
But this is, the Beatles haven't been relevant. Like, this is what cracks me up about these things, right? The Beatles haven't been relevant for years. You gotta understand, the Beatles came out in the late 50s. The late 50s. You know what I'm saying? 50s and 60s, I believe. One of the legendary bands of all time, right? And then they broke up. I believe they broke up after, is it Sgt. Pepper or Albany Road? One of those albums they broke up after that. And then Paul McCartney and John Lennon didn't get along no more, and they kind of separated. You know what I'm saying? And Ringo Starr doing, I believe I know John Lennon got killed. I know he got shot in front of his apartment, I believe, in Manhattan, in New York somewhere. And Paul is still alive. I don't know if Ringo's still alive. And I don't know. I can't remember the other guy's name. Yeah, it's Paul McCartney, John Lennon, Ringo Starr, and I can't remember the other guy. Anyway, yeah, so they've been on the charts, whatever. It's a bunch of artists, but they've been on there forever because they have music that is kind of like Drake's music. So you know what I mean? Like, people listen to the old stuff. It's the same thing with him. So let's keep it going.
Just seeing Drake and the Beatles names together would do decent for him regardless of the situation, but now most importantly for Drake, and what he has been chasing with this Nokia record more than anything, and what he really wanted to get way before this beef but just couldn't, is not just another #1 song, but really for Drake it would become the #1 song, because Nokia's potential spot there would mean that Drake would pass MJ and become the artist with the most #1 records in the history of the Billboard Hot 100 chart. And so with this, the main play and what Drake believed was going to take him to the next level was this all-out push with the video and narratives he has been spreading to try and revise the beef and his image and then get Nokia to #1, which then if he did, Drake can once again try and use a legend like MJ as a prop that he can step over to try and assert greatness over. And I mean, with Drake trying to pull this off, not just does it make that whole part of Family Matters and the final beat switch where Drake tried to then diss Mike to diss Kendrick seem even more weird, and really in terms of the beef shows how desperate Drake was to create any sort of a bar or narrative that he could get off. But beyond that, it is also ironic considering how this beef started with the Prince and MJ comparisons from Kendrick Lamar on Like That, and now ultimately, as we are decently removed from all of that, we are seeing how Drake has no respect for either of them, just from the fact of how he has talked, treated, and used them as props to try and lift himself up without regard for anything else. And of course, as Drake keeps disrespecting these guys, and we are about to see just how bad what he tried to do to MJ was, what's really telling about everything with Drake and Kendrick and MJ and Prince is how in the end and with the Super Bowl and everything Kendrick has now done, Kendrick is now more like both of them musically because he really embodies some of their best characteristics, and Drake is just falling further and further behind. And really what put this into perspective more than ever is the fact that with this race that Drake has been trying to have with MJ to break this record, and then he can do ridiculous things if he was to get another #1, like brag about how he is better than him, which is just what he has been doing with the Beatles for quite some time now, is that if you actually break down this record and see the #1 songs MJ has versus what Drake has, you will realize that Drake is a bigger liar than ever who just uses the streaming game to his advantage and really stat pads in this era, as he has nowhere near the level of major songs that Mike has had in this spot. And really with Drake,
And that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, you do features, you do all these things to get #1, but the impact of the songs is not the same. It's a big difference. That's what makes me so mad with people when they say, "Oh, Drake got all these #1s." It's like, bro, but what are we arguing here? Are we arguing impact? Because the songs that he got #1 is because people ain't making good music. So he's the most popular one. So obviously he goes #1. See, he ain't reached #1 yet because Kendrick is still there. It's still, once people make good music, they outshine him. That's what it is. It's crazy.
knowing how fake some of these songs are in terms of their #1 status, because again, and we will look at this, some of these songs literally only stayed at the #1 spot and in the top 10 as a whole for a single week. Overall, Drake is putting himself on a playing field that he does not belong in whatsoever. Because seriously, and why Drake even comparing himself to Mike and trying to put themselves in the same tier, even back on FPS with J. Cole, was already disrespectful in of itself, is because when you go #1 for #1, when you see that MJ's #1s are tracks like Billie Jean, Beat It, Rock With You, Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, You Are Not Alone, The Way You Make Me Feel, Dirty Diana, and Ben. I mean, all of those songs are real culturally moving and defining tracks that you could still play anywhere to this day. And almost everyone will know the words, and that's what a real #1 and a real type of impact with your music looks like. And I mean, with MJ, in an era before guys like Drake could stat pad with streaming, that was what was needed to go #1. But now with Drake, aside from some of his older #1 songs in the first half of his career, when it comes to the tracks that have even put him near this record and where he has bragged about getting closer to Mike more and more, he's got Jimmy Cooks, 2C Slide, the Way 2 record from CLB, What's Next from Scary Hours 2, Slime You Out, and FPS with J. Cole. And again, just to put all of this into perspective, none of these songs even stayed in the top 10 for more than a single week, which shows how after the records dropped and people were done checking them out because it is a Drake record that everybody wants to hear because they are curious, none of this even stuck. And I mean, overall, Drake is really disrespecting somebody like MJ bad with this.
That's what I'm saying. None of those songs stuck. It's like, come on, you comparing, you saying that you got more #1s than Mike, but Mike Jones has been around for years. Like, come on, bro. It's like it become a number game to Drake. It becomes this number thing where it's like, yeah, this is what I did. Look, and it's like, but none of your shit holds no weight though, bro. Like, you did more push-ups than me, but I'm bigger than you, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm stronger than you. I'm faster than you. But I did more push-ups than you though. Like, yeah, okay. But I'm still better than you at the whole package. That's what the thing is, man. You know what I'm saying?
Because to try and act like you are equals or even close to surpassing him, and again, you're trying to go against a record like Billie Jean with What's Next? I mean, this has gotta be a joke. And compare this to Kendrick Lamar in the past, and when an album like T-Pap got as much critical acclaim at the Grammys as Thriller, Kendrick Lamar said that he didn't even want to think about surpassing Mike or being near him because it's too much of an honor and Mike's a legend that means so much to him. And once again, when you see that and now see how Drake is trying to use this record he wants to take with Nokia as a stepping stone for a comeback, and again, it's not like he actually earned this record, but he has just played the system in this era where it's never been easier for him. You just see how different these guys are and how one respects the lineage of music while one only uses it for their personal gain. But really what the best part is about this entire chase to lie about being bigger than MJ for Drake is that despite everything he has been doing to try and get Nokia to that #1 spot, ultimately and ironically enough, Kendrick Lamar is the one who is stopping Drake from being able to use MJ's legacy and try to step on it, as Luther is still blocking Nokia from that #1 spot even with all of the push they are making. And really with this, it almost feels like an extended win of the beef for Kendrick and another L for Drake, because really beyond their own differences, with Kendrick not allowing Drake to get more annoying than ever and then just brag about being bigger and better than MJ of all people, he is helping the entire lineage of music just stay in a better place. Because really, what Mike did with all of the #1 songs in an era where people had to actually want to hear them for a long time actually meant something. And then with Drake, I mean, just look at the songs that went #1. Those are not actual real #1s that can be compared to everything else. And Drake has so many songs that are even bigger than.
And that's my point. None of these songs could be compared to Michael Jackson songs. Like, what are we talking about here? like, okay, just like you got Tootsie Slide versus Thriller. Come on, bro. Like, what are we talking about here, bro? Like, what are we talking about? Come on now.
Them in their entirety, and nobody even remembers some of those tracks anymore because they were that forgettable. And I think once again for Drake going forward, while he may have thought that the decent success of Nokia, which is the first song he has had in quite a while that has stayed in the top 10 for more than a single week, all of a sudden meant that he wasn't a joke in rap and that he could be compared to MJ and the Beatles, he's got to leave all that stuff in the past because it's over and music is moving on from him. And no matter how this era where he has rigged the game may put it, he will never come close to the Beatles or MJ in terms of the greatness they had. And so with this, it is great to say that at least for now, with Kendrick Lamar and Luther staying at that #1 spot, Drake will never have a chance to use and twist MJ's legacy for his own gain. As of now, with all that said, let me know. What do you think about how Drake has tried to
Right. Yeah, man. Listen, man. I don't see how we even argue in this point. At this point, I just don't see it. I don't see how we got to this point where we're arguing Drake versus Michael Jackson because of #1s. Like, if you do 100,000 songs and Michael Jackson only did 100 songs, and 100 songs, he went 50 of them went #1, and you did 100,000. And he did 50 of them went #1. I mean, who's really the best artist here? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't understand how, maybe he's proud of that, breaking that record, but I just don't see how that, to me, you could go #1 and you could manufacture these #1s all you want, but it's not going to do anything. So thank y'all for joining me. I appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all on the next one.